Hey, this is Gene. Please excuse my facial issues. I don't know what the hell that is, but I get that now. It's almost like I'm a fucking teenager now. I get blemishes and stuff now. I want to talk about coincidences, and I want to talk about what's actually going on in the West. Um, Tucker Carlson is trying to be canceled now by everybody. And we got people that apparently his friends are doing the straddling of the fence, like Megyn Kelly. And I want to talk about her in a little bit. But I want to start this with this video that was about a month ago, I think, when Tucker Carlson went on to Pierce Morgan's game or his show. Now, I have no real issue with Pierce. He's got he said some stupid stuff in the back, but he's one of those claimed to be a conservative in England, which is like being a lefty in the United States. But he's also waking up to a lot of things, and sometimes I agree with him. Don't like him. He loves Arsenal. I can't deal with that. But I'm just going to play this quick video, and I want to talk about this and why I kind of became when I got involved in this whole thing. And I'll talk about when I talk about coincidences, who's actually trying to stop people from talking about like this. Sorry, I don't know how to do editing thing. I'll try to do as best as I can. This is off TikTok.
United Kingdom's immigration crisis.
We are done with people coming in illegally and being
Now again,
treated
Pierce is wrong. They're allowing it in England.
The point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. Are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly? You'd really have to force a lot of people to go back to their countries of origin, millions of people, and you need to do it really soon. And are they actually willing to do that? I don't know. But these are existential questions that we have been browbeat into ignoring for decades. But the question is, like, is Ireland Ireland if it's majority non-Irish? Oh, shut up, they're Irish. No, they're actually not Irish. Let your eyes tell you the truth for once. Like, this is a total change in population. What is this? I think it's the biggest and darkest thing that has happened in the last 1,000 years, for sure. And I think it's leading somewhere really, really bad. It's not happening by accident, that's obvious, because it's only happening in white countries.
Tucker Carlson calls out the United Kingdom's.
Okay, I realized this probably, I want to say 11, 12 years ago, when I realized this was happening in the West. And when you go down that rabbit hole, and back then YouTube and the internet in general, you still have the dark web that a lot of us didn't know about, but you could actually go find things. And that's when the alt-right kind of like started up. Although some of the problems around the alt-right was the people that were trying to be the leaders of that, and they were just losers like Richard Spencer and stuff like that. But when you go down that rabbit hole and you realize, there's this old coincidences, and I hate saying the word because I can't say it, but there's always a coincidence that when you go down the rabbit hole, the people that backed all this stuff in the Western countries, in the white countries, are the same people, the same tribe of people that are trying to get Tucker canceled, Nick Fuentes canceled, anybody that says anything against the Israeli lobby in Washington. And I love the fact that people are standing up and talking about this, but there's still so many people my age especially that are so entrenched into Israel being our friend, and we have to defend them. And a lot of them has to do with a nice little movie that came out called Schindler's List and what it displayed in the Holocaust. Now, really, I've seen the money many times. I bought it on DVD. I bought it in Blu-ray. I have it on 4K. All right. Regardless of the veracity of the claims that they show in the film and what it really means, it's a great art thing, right? It's well directed, well acted, well shot, showing it in black and white, then showing the little girl in red. This is all very impactful type statements when you're a filmmaker. And it's like even Denzel Washington said, the reason why it makes more impact because it's a Jew who directed that show. So he was talking about somebody else doing stuff like, would you rather have, I don't even know what his fucking name is, the black director doing a black thing, or would you want to have a white person? Whatever. He was making a statement like that. And he said it's not racial, it's cultural. I think that race and culture is mixed. It is. You can't really go past that. It's almost universally that way. Now, when you go down the rabbit hole and you find out there was a plan called the Cagliari Plan by the same people, said that if we do this in Europe, we bring in the third world, and they were talking mostly about Africans, and you have them mix with the white women, that will cause chaos. And you just all you got to do, if you don't believe me, just go on and look at different commercials they have, or watch, what's his name? Modernity dude. He used to be on Alex and Jones, tall dude. I'll try to remember his name and I'll put it in comments. But there's a whole long commercial that it shows a white woman and a black African together like they're going to be together forever. And we know in the United States that our commercials are just oversaturated with this idea. And even Biden, when he was talking about this when he was president, he says, yeah, this is always the plan, that we're going to show mixed couples on commercials, that we're going to push that. And before he became president, he said that people like me with blue eyes will be a minority in 2050. And that's a great thing because diversity is a strength. And further in that interview, Tucker says, you have to ask your question, do you think that that's going to be a good thing in the future? Is that better, that the people that are in Ireland are no longer going to be Irish anymore? You're talking about a small island that's 5 million people that's being overrun, and they're going to be bleeded out of existence, and they're going to be a minority in their own country. I had this conversation with my sister when I got married, she came down when I was my 60th birthday, and I just let out some of my issues. And I said, do you understand what's going on in the Western world? And they don't do anything. They're liberals. They don't look at shit like this. And she's always respected me because I'm the older brother. So she's not going to say anything bad about me. I said, but this is what's going on. And, her husband's more like trying to be more rational about it and say, well, maybe this is why. It's like, no, this is what's going on. There's been a plan forever. It started before Hart-Celler in 1965. This was a plan that they dreamed up and they put it out there. Everybody could see it, and it just happened. And they knew at the end of the time that they would run everything. And that's why they're just so freaked out now, because so many people are waking up. Now, again, it's still, if you go on Twitter, and I know Twitter is not real in a lot of ways, but there are so many people that still defend people like Ben Shapiro and Ray Fine, these guys that are Israeli first, that didn't give a shit about anybody else. They don't give a crap about what's happening in this country demographically, that it's changing all the time. And they're just going to be on the outside in their nice little enclaves when the rest of us have to deal with this shit. So when I talk about consequences, all the people, the same type of people that were the ones that pushed the Sart-Heller Act and all the Western countries and this academia that just starts saying, 30, 40 years ago, saying that whiteness is somehow bad, that we're all colonizers, we're all oppressors because of the color of our skin. And then you get people on Twitter saying the same shit that, well, if it ends up that they're the majority now, non-white people are the majority, that it's deserved because of what our ancestors did. Like the entire world history started by when we came here and conquered the United States. And we have to pay for that. One person actually said this, and said that when Tucker said this is like 1,000 thing, it's 1,000-year-old thing, it'd be the worst thing ever. And they're like, what are you talking about? When we came across and took over America, we killed at least 50 million Indians. And I was like, no. You can try to figure out exactly how many Indians there were on the United States at the time. There was in the United States. This is happening to sovereign countries, actual countries that were created and conquered by white people, like it always been. This is what happens. What's happening now is the oligarchs and certain groups of people that want to get their own power because they're minority, and they want to just the chaos to go into Western countries. And deep down, all of them believe this shit. They believe, like Josh Hammer and stuff, they believe the Europeans are anti-Semitic, that we all hate Jews. They believe this in their fucking mind because in their books it says the Gentiles are beneath them, and they believe this shit. Even the ones that are even not even religious, the secular ones believe this shit. And then they sit there and they have a picture of or the painting of the Last Supper and say these are all Jews. Is anybody saying that they're not? It's like that. Okay, if you're going to say Jesus was a Jew, then when we bring up the fact that the Jews killed Jesus, and again, this is something that's happened forever. Especially, there's been real anti-Semitic behavior because we would blame them because he killed our saving Lord, our Lord and Savior, and there was gangs that would do that in the United States when they all came in. They were all parts of their own ghettos. There would be Jewish gangs against Italian ones, and they would fight each other because of shit, and they would say shit because they're Jews doing this stuff, and they might call them certain things, right? It's not like it is now. These people have so much power, they still claim victim status all the time. So let me talk about Megyn Kelly. She loves all these people, right? Now she doesn't like Nick, but she'll never have him on a show because he will look right at her and say, "You're a woman." You know, this is about times for people, and she probably would actually deep inside, even though she's had the problem with Matt Walsh, because Matt Walsh has also called her out of being a feminist, really, in conservative clothing. And there's a lot of them on the right that are feminists because they think by having a career and also having a mom and all that shit is a really good thing to do. It hasn't really helped for the rest of the country and the world because these people married men that have money and they had money, so they could also do things at the same time. But anyway, and Matt called her out about it. But now it look like to me, I could be 100% wrong, all right? I only see these clips. I can't sit there and listen to Ben Shapiro because of the way he talks. And the fact, at my 60th years of age, having 3 strokes, I would fucking destroy him in a debate. I would sit there and let him talk until he get it out of his fucking mind. The way he talks, like, I just say, okay. So, do you think that you should have that much influence in the United States? Are you going to tell me that you don't have influence in the United States? Do you think the ADL, the SPLC, AIPAC don't have more influence than other groups of people in the United States? And tell me why somebody that's less than 2% of the population should have that much. Why? Because of Holocaust? Anyway, so which is weird to me, I think that they were at the same event. It might have been turning point, and that's something else that we have to stop from happening. We can't have Ben Shapiro because he right away, like 2 seconds after Charlie got shot, I'll take over. I'll be there. Fuck you. You're losing your fucking viewerships. So now you're just going around on every fucking show to get it back, and you wanted to sit there and now name Nick instead of actually debate the man, and we can actually find out who's taller. So anyway. So you got Megyn says, that he's always worried about getting shot. He's got the security around him all the time. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. Ben Shapiro, nobody gives a shit about Ben Shapiro. They just don't. All right. Anyway, she had Tucker on there. She brought up Nick Fuentes. And Tucker said, it's my interview. I do it my way. If you don't like it, get someone else to interview him. I don't need to talk about what he said about the Holocaust. He was 18, 19 when he said that stuff, and it was kind of funny. He didn't say that. This is what I'm saying. And somebody like me that was so into the narrative of the Holocaust after my stroke, and then when I finally looked down and started researching and said, there's just no way for this. And then when we already know that they've already lowered the revolt results in Auschwitz and like Treblinka, we know that it's not 6 million. We know it's around 2 million or less. I still believe the Red Cross estimate of 2,071. I do. I think that's true. Most people died at the end of the war was because of starvation and disease. And again, I've said it many, many times on this. It doesn't mean it was a good thing for him to intern people, but we did the same thing, United States. Anyway, so she talks about all this stuff, and she's like, Ben has to go through all this stuff, and Tucker says, whatever, and we don't have a really good relationship with Ben Shapiro. And then Ben Shapiro comes out and he throws texts that he gets from Tucker, and he's talking to her about it. And I'm like, this is how fucking weak Ben Shapiro is. If they're in the same fucking building, walk up to him and talk to the guy. Say, hey, what's up? But he knows it's not what this is about. This is about the power that his tribe has in his country, and people are just starting to wake up about it. And what's glorifying is it's the young people, young men, white men saying, we're done with this shit. It's stupid. I wasn't around when this started. My dad wasn't around here when this started. My dad, Gene Lachine, Unite, me, was a liberal that wanted to help civil rights and all that shit. And I taught my kids that we should do that as well. We should be virtuous against the minorities, for the minorities. Not because I thought they couldn't do the job, right? And now, because we almost do that, when you sit there and just allow it to happen, they have this victim mentality. But it's not all coming from the black community. It's also for people on the outside chirping in their ears saying, hey, you got to do this, you got to do this. And guess what? Almost en masse, they're from the same group of people. And I'm like, where the fuck did they get all these people? You're 2% of the population. You're everywhere. Everywhere. And when I somebody said something on Twitter, and I said 109, it could be 110 very quickly. Now, it won't be, because there's too many boomers and too many guys my age right now are just indoctrinated to this whole thing. And again, I'm not 100% right on everything. I'm not saying that there's nothing about Jewish people. This is nothing about that. It's about the state of Israel and the government of Israel, what they've done. And what the government has done since they become a state. And they've pushed this narrative since the Holocaust, saying they've been the biggest victims of all time. And if anybody questions it or is critical of the numbers, they come out en masse and try to destroy that person. Great historians like David Irving, they tried to destroy. So many other people, former Jews, they try to destroy. And now, because Nick was just talking a little bit against Israel, I mean, at that time, Israel has been lionized by everybody in the United States. Everybody just thought they were so, and especially evangelicals, the Christians like that. They think that, we got to make sure everything's okay with Israel because we won't get to God without that. These Christian Zionists, it's like, if you're going to talk about the religious side of it, and they won't, because if they did, they realize what our book says compared to what their book says about Jesus. At least the Muslims, looked at Jesus as a child of unnatural birth, that Mary was not raped. That's what the Jews believed, that she was raped by a Roman guard. And their books say that Jesus is not a prophet, is not the Son of God. He is just another Messiah that got killed for his efforts trying to say he was God at that time. And that's the reason why a lot of this shit was going on, that there was really anti-Semitic behaviors back in the 1900s, because we were more religious back then. And they're worried about, and why do you think those agencies that go against Christmas stuff, or if we say Christ is King, it's always the same ones. And we're supposed to sit there and say it's fine. And then when we finally start talking about it, guess what happens? They have people in the media that they give them money to say shit. People that are also Christians that start saying shit like that. People that are influencers, especially on social media. And when Bibi says that it's important for them to take TikTok, it just shows you where they're at right now. And they know that they're fucking failing. And maybe they think it's far enough now that they can't stop it, that we can't stop the change. I don't believe that. I don't. But again, Tucker says more things in that Piers Morgan interview. I would say go ahead and listen to that. That's a month ago or so. But he's been talking about stuff like this before, but he's going further down the rabbit hole. He's saying those words you shouldn't say. And we're going to have, when he says it's going to be a bad thing, I've been talking about this for fucking 10 years because it's going to blow up. It's going to fucking blow up. Unless we can, and I will continually say this, it's Americans, it's white people and black people. These are the founders of this country. Now, maybe it was all white people that wrote the shit down, but black people were here at that time. They're just as much American as anybody else in the United States. If we as people can get back together to what it means to be Americans, we'll be fine. We'll be fucking fine. And the people here don't want to be here and don't want to assimilate, we need to get them fuck out. Get them the fuck out. If you're so pro-Israel that it's above everything else, if you're so Somalia, so pro-Somalia, it's above everything else, you gotta fucking go. You have to fucking go. Because we can't, we're at that point, that nexus, and I think that most people think we've already passed that as far as demographics. I don't think so. I think it's a possibility we can bring it back. But we can't be afraid to talk about this stuff. And it's nice to see Tucker is talking about it. And he doesn't matter because he's got enough money and he'll be fine. And Nick will probably be fine. I worry about his health. I absolutely do. He was on fire the last time I watched him. But, you know, words is one thing. And I'm not saying we should go out and start hitting people. I'm not saying that at all. But we cannot stop. We cannot stop. We can keep talking and saying this is what's, if they want to call us grapers, or if they want to call us fascist, or they call us racist or anti-Semitic, fucking just knock it off your fucking shoulders. It doesn't mean anything. There's nothing wrong with defending what you believe Americans is and how it was formed by. And when we really look at that, we know where we come from, and we should also worry about them as well. And I'll always worry about Europe, always. I'm going to stop right there. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think that I'm just being an old crazy-ass person? I mean, I'm not going to be around for the real revolution, but it's going to be so bad for our kids and their kids. I'm just telling you, it's going to be very bad. And I hate being right about shit like this, but the shit's on, it's there. And when it starts going down the hill like it is, it becomes more acceleration. And it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. You're going to have people who are even more popular than even Nick at some point. And these guys may not be as nice. And Nick talked about that last night. You might find out another people like me, another 1 million people, and they're going to be a lot harder than me. And then shit might actually happen. Things that we won't want to look back 100 years and say, man, we just went crazy at down and we started killing people for no reason. We don't want to go down there. We have the better ideas. This country was founded by white people. There's nothing wrong with saying that. It's okay to be white. You guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you all later.